3 days after my son's wedding, the photographer called me with a voice I'll never forget. "Mr. Moore," he said, trembling slightly, "I need you to see something in the photos. There's a face that keeps appearing in the background. Someone who was never on your guest list." My hand tightened on the phone. "What do you mean, someone who wasn't invited?" "I can't explain over the phone," he said. "But Mr. Moore, this person appears in dozens of shots. Background, shadows, watching. And according to your registry, they were never signed in as a guest." The study suddenly felt colder. "Who is it? Please, just come to my studio, immediately. And sir, come. Alone. Don't tell your son yet." Before I could respond, my daughter-in-law, Rachel's voice, rang out from the living room. "Dad, did the photographer send the preview files yet? Everyone's dying to see them." "I'll be there," I whispered into the phone. The call ended. I stood motionless in my home office, staring at the wedding invitation still sitting on my desk. Elegant calligraphy, cream-colored cardstock. My son Derek's wedding, 3 days ago. $52,000 I'd spent. Worth every penny to see him happy. Someone in the photos who shouldn't be there. My mind raced through possibilities. But somewhere deep inside, I already knew. There was only one person who would dare. I'm Jackson Moore, 59 years old. For 32 years, I ran Moore Construction, a commercial building company based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Started with nothing but a truck and a toolbox. Built it into a multi-million-dollar operation. 3 regional offices, solid reputation, good life. Retired 2 years ago. Sold the business for enough to live comfortably. My son Derek would never need to worry about money. Neither would his new wife. Derek, 33, had just married Rachel Thompson, 31, an elementary school teacher. Beautiful woman, kind heart, patient. Everything I'd hoped my son would find. The wedding had been at the Duke Mansion. Ceremony in the garden. Reception in the Grand Hall. 175 guests. String quartet. Premium, open bar. Everything tasteful. Everything perfect. Or so I'd thought. I sat at my mahogany desk, coffee growing cold. Tuesday morning. Late September sunshine streaming through the windows of my Myers Park home. The kind of peaceful moment I'd earned after decades of 12-hour days and weekend shifts. But that phone call had changed everything. Derek appeared in my doorway, dress shirt and slacks, briefcase in hand. "Morning, Dad. Heading to the office. You look tired. Wedding? Still catching up to you?" I forced a smile. "Something like that. You know how it is." He laughed. "Best day of my life, Dad. I can't thank you enough." That was the goal. He checked his watch. "I've got a 9 o'clock. Rachel's meeting her mom for lunch. We're going through wedding gifts tonight if you want to stop by. Maybe. I'll text you." After he left, I sat alone, stared at my phone. Someone in the photos who shouldn't be there. There was only one person it could be, and if it was her, everything was about to unravel. Before we continue, I just want to mention something quickly. If you're enjoying this story so far, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. It helps me keep creating these stories for you. And if you're curious where this is going, and I promise it gets even more intense, make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. Alright, let's get back to the story. Around noon, Rachel came by the house. Hair pulled back, casual jeans and sweater, carrying a box of leftover wedding favors. "Dad, I brought you some of the extra chocolates from the reception. Way too many for our apartment." She set the box on the kitchen counter. "The photographer emailed this morning. Said the full gallery will be ready by Friday." "I'm so excited." I nodded, kept my voice steady. "Did he send any previews?" "Not yet. Said he's still editing the best shots." She poured herself water from my fridge. "Mom's been texting me non-stop, asking for pictures. Derek's college friends keep asking too." My phone buzzed. Text from the photographer, Marcus Webb. His studio address downtown. A time, 2:30 p.m. today. And one more line. Come, alone. This is serious. Rachel noticed my expression. Dad, you okay? Just business stuff. Nothing important. She studied me for a moment. You've been quiet since Sunday. Is something wrong? Wedding exhaustion. I'm not as young as I used to be. She smiled and hugged me. You're not old, Dad. You danced more than anyone at the reception. After she left, I called my brother Tom. Tom, I need you to do something for me. What's up? You sound strange. The wedding photographer found something in the photos, someone who wasn't on the guest list. Silence. Then his voice dropped. Jackson, you don't think? I don't know. But if it's her, I need to confirm it before Derek sees anything. Jesus. After all these years, why would she show up now? That's what I'm going to find out. Tom exhaled heavily. When are you going? 2:30. His studio downtown. Want me to come with you? No. I need to handle this myself. After I hung up, I walked to the window, looked out over my backyard, the pool I'd had installed 5 years ago, the guest house where Derek and Rachel had stayed the night before the wedding. Everything looked normal. But normal was about to shatter. If she'd been at the wedding, hiding in the background, watching from the shadows while my son exchanged vows, the thought made my blood run cold. Marcus Webb's studio was in South End, a converted warehouse space with exposed brick, modern lighting, and professional photography equipment. His portfolio covered the walls: weddings, corporate events, engagement sessions. He met me at the door, mid-40s, professional demeanor. But his eyes showed concern. Mr. Moore, thank you for coming so quickly. He locked the door behind me, led me through the gallery space to a private editing suite. 3 large monitors dominated the desk, computer towers humming, memory cards and external drives stacked neatly. Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee? No, just show me what you found. He nodded, sat at his workstation. I remained standing behind him, arms crossed. Mr. Moore, I've photographed over 300 weddings. I've seen crashers, ex-girlfriends, family drama, you name it. But this... He pulled up the first image. This is different. The screen filled with a photo from the ceremony. Derek at the altar, standing tall in his tuxedo. Rachel walking down the aisle in her wedding dress. Radiant. Guests standing, smiling, phones out, capturing the moment. Everything beautiful. Everything perfect. These are the main shots, Marcus said. What everyone saw. What everyone remembers. He zoomed in on the background. 5th row. Right side. Between 2 guests I recognized as Rachel's cousins. A woman's face, partially turned away, angled to avoid direct camera exposure. But visible enough. My chest tightened. I didn't notice her during the ceremony, Marcus continued. She stayed in the periphery, never drew attention to herself. But when I started editing, running facial recognition software for guest tagging, the system flagged her multiple times. She's not in your guest registry, not in the sign-in book, but she's in 37 different photos. He clicked to the next image. Different angle. Same woman, closer this time. Dark auburn hair. Sunglasses pushed up on her head even though the ceremony was indoors. A navy dress that blended with the other guests. My hands gripped the back of Marcus's chair. Do you recognize her? He asked gently. I couldn't speak for a moment, just stared. Mr. Moore? Yes, I said finally, voice barely above a whisper. I recognize her. Marcus clicked forward. Another photo. The woman standing near the back during the reception entrance. Another shot of her near the gift table. Another by the bar. She moved around strategically, Marcus explained. Stayed in blind spots. Avoided the main photographer positions. But my second shooter caught her from different angles. She knew what she was doing. He pulled up a timeline overlay. Red dots marking her location throughout the event. She entered during the ceremony. Stayed through cocktail hour. Left before the cake cutting. How did she get in? My voice was steadier now. Controlled? That's what concerns me. Marcus pulled up exterior shots. Security footage from the venue shows her entering through the South Service entrance. 40 minutes before the ceremony started. She waited in a side hallway until guests began arriving, then blended in. He showed me the footage, grainy but clear enough. The woman entering alone. The venue coordinator confirmed they saw her, but assumed she was part of the wedding party. She never approached the main entrance where your greeters were stationed. I straightened slowly. Felt my jaw tighten. Mr. Moore, there's one more thing. He pulled up a photo from late in the reception. The gift table, envelopes, and wrapped boxes stacked neatly. This was taken at 7:40 p.m. The gift attendant confirmed this. He clicked to the next photo, time-stamped 8:15 p.m. This was 35 minutes later. The gift table, still full, but something was different. One of the larger envelopes is missing, Marcus said. The venue staff noticed it after the fact, a cream-colored envelope. The attendant remembered it specifically because it was thicker than the others. My stomach dropped. Mr. Moore, I believe whoever this woman is, she didn't just attend your son's wedding uninvited. She stole from it. I drove home in silence. Hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. The flash drive Marcus had given me sat in my passenger seat. All the photos. All the timestamps. All the evidence. Her face, after 12 years, Vanessa Pierce. My ex-wife, Derek's mother. The woman I divorced when Derek was 21. The woman who'd chosen gambling addiction over her family. The woman who'd stolen $87,000 from our joint accounts to fund her casino trips to Vegas and Atlantic City. The woman who'd lied, manipulated, and destroyed every ounce of trust I'd ever had. The woman I'd cut out of my life completely. The woman Derek had cut off too after she missed his college graduation to play poker in Atlantic City. She hadn't been at Derek's graduation, hadn't been at his 25th birthday, hadn't been invited to holidays, milestones, nothing. And now she'd crashed his wedding, stolen from him, from us. I pulled into my driveway just after 4. The house was empty. Quiet. I went straight to my office and locked the door, opened my laptop, pulled up the wedding budget spreadsheet I'd created 6 months ago. Venue, $15,000. Catering, $18,500. Photography, $4,200. Flowers, $3,800. Band, $5,500. Bar service, $2,900. Dress and alterations, $2,600. Total, $52,500. Every penny I'd paid. Every detail I'd overseen. Because Derek's mother wasn't there to help. Because I'd been both parents for 12 years. And she'd shown up anyway, uninvited, unwanted, stolen from us. I opened a legal pad. Started writing. Wedding, Saturday, September 23, 3 p.m. Vanessa entered, 2:20 p.m. South Service entrance. Ceremony, 3 to 3:30 p.m. Cocktail hour, 3:34:30 p.m. Reception, 4:38:30 p.m. Vanessa left. Approximately 8 p.m. Missing envelope. Discovered 8:15 p.m. I circled the missing envelope detail. Then, I remembered something. My brother Tom had given Derek and Rachel a generous gift. He'd told me about it at the rehearsal dinner. Gave them $5,000 cash, Tom had said. Cream envelope. Figured they could use it for the honeymoon or house fund. $5,000. In a cream envelope? Vanessa had stolen $5,000 from my brother's gift to my son. I needed more information. Needed to know if anyone else had seen her. If anyone had talked to her. I called the venue coordinator, Patricia Martinez. We'd worked together for months planning the wedding. Mr. Moore, how can I help you? Patricia, I have a question about Saturday. Did you notice any issues with the guest list? Anyone who seemed out of place? A pause. Is something wrong? The photographer found someone in the photos who wasn't invited. A woman. Dark auburn hair, navy dress, mid-50s. Another pause. Longer this time. Actually, yes. I did notice her. I assumed she was with the bride's family. She stayed in the background mostly. Very quiet. Did she speak to anyone? Not that I saw. She kept to herself. I remember thinking it was odd that she left before the cake cutting. But guests do that sometimes. Did you see her near the gift table? Silence. Then, carefully, Mr. Moore. If something was taken, we need to file a formal report. I'm working on that. But yes, an envelope is missing. A substantial, cash gift. I'm so sorry. Our staff is very careful. But if she went to the table between attendant rotations, it's not your fault. But I need to know if she said anything. Talked to anyone. Gave any indication why she was there. Actually, there was one moment. During cocktail hour, I overheard her talking to herself. Or maybe, on the phone with an earpiece. I couldn't tell, but she said something like, "He looks happy. Good. He deserves it." I thought it was sweet at the time. Now it seems sinister. Yes. After I hung up, I sat with that. He looks happy. Good. He deserves it. Vanessa watching Derek, our son. The boy she'd abandoned for slot machines and poker tables. Watching him marry Rachel. Feeling what? Nostalgia? Regret? Or calculating her next move? My phone rang. Derek? Dad, you free for dinner? Rachel's making pasta. We want to show you some of the cards we've opened. My throat tightened. Sure, son. What time? 6:30? Our place? I'll be there. I hung up. Looked at the flash drive on my desk. Derek didn't know yet. Didn't know his mother had been there. Didn't know she'd stolen from him. I had to tell him, but not yet, not until I had a plan. I need to pause here for just a second. This story is about to take a turn you won't believe. And I've noticed something interesting. Most of you are completely hooked right now, but you haven't subscribed yet. Here's the thing about YouTube that most people don't realize. If you're not subscribed, the algorithm might not show you stories like this. You could miss the ending. You could miss the justice. Just something to think about. Anyway, if you're enjoying this, a quick subscribe helps more than you know. Now, let's continue. Because what Derek is about to discover changes everything. The next morning, I called my attorney, Richard Stern. We'd worked together during my divorce from Vanessa 12 years ago. He knew the history. Knew what she'd done. Jackson, good to hear from you. How's Derek? How was the wedding? That's why I'm calling. We have a problem. I met him at his office downtown at 10. Glass building. 23rd floor. View of the Charlotte skyline. Professional. Expensive. Exactly what I needed. His secretary brought coffee. Rich closed the door. Tell me what happened. I laid it out. The photographer's discovery. The photos. The timeline. The missing envelope with $5,000. Rich leaned back in his leather chair, fingers steepled. And you're certain it was Vanessa? Positive. The photographer's facial recognition software confirmed it. I confirmed it visually. It's her. Does Derek know? Not yet. I want to handle this correctly before I tell him. Rich nodded, pulled up a legal pad, started writing. Okay. First, this is criminal trespassing. The venue was a private event. She had no invitation, no authorization. Second, if she stole cash, that's theft. Potentially grand larceny, depending on the amount. Third, you have photographic evidence and venue security footage. What are my options? You can file a police report, press charges. The evidence is solid. But Jackson. He set down his pen. Before you do that, we need to consider Derek's feelings. This is his mother. Even though he's estranged from her, this could be emotionally complicated. He cut her off 12 years ago for good reason. I know. But he's also just married. Starting a new life. Do you want his first week of marriage clouded by his mother being arrested? I sat with that, stared out the window at the city below. What's the alternative? Confrontation. Documentation. A cease and desist. You make it clear that any future contact will result in legal action. You recover the money, if possible. You protect Derek without dragging him through a criminal case. And if she refuses, if she shows up again, then you escalate. Restraining order, criminal charges, full legal warfare. But you give her one chance to walk away quietly. I thought about Derek, about Rachel, about the honeymoon they were leaving for in 2 days. I want to confront her, face to face, with you present as witness. Rich nodded slowly. That can be arranged. But Jackson, you need to prepare yourself. Vanessa is manipulative. She'll lie. She'll play victim. You need to stay calm and factual. After what she's done, calm is the last thing I feel, which is exactly why you need me there. That afternoon, I did something I hadn't done in 12 years. I searched for Vanessa online. It took 15 minutes to find her. Facebook profile under a slightly different name. Vanessa Pierce Morrison. Privacy settings loose. Recent photos public. I clicked through them. My stomach turned. Photos from casinos. Las Vegas. Biloxi. Atlantic City. Her at slot machines. Her at poker tables. Her with drinks. Her with groups of people I didn't recognize. Recent posts about big wins and lucky streaks. Motivational quotes about taking chances and living life without regrets. Nothing about Derek. Nothing about missing her son. Nothing about the family she'd destroyed. But then I found it, posted 4 days ago. A photo, blurry, taken from a distance. Derek and Rachel. Outside the Duke mansion. Wedding day. Their backs to the camera. The caption, some moments you watch from afar. Some blessings you don't deserve to be part of, but you're grateful anyway. 23 likes, 12 comments from people I didn't know. Beautiful. Is this your son? So happy for you. You must be so proud. She'd posted about attending the wedding. Bragged about it. To people who didn't know, she'd crashed it. Stolen from it. Violated it. I screenshotted everything, sent it to Rich. His reply came 2 minutes later. This helps. She's admitted attendance publicly. Makes our case stronger. I found her current address through a property records search. An apartment in East Charlotte. Low rent area. Same neighborhood where she'd been living 12 years ago when we divorced. She hadn't changed. Hadn't grown. Hadn't improved her life. Just kept gambling. Kept lying. Kept taking from people who loved her. My phone buzzed. Text from Derek. Dad, Rachel and I are going through wedding cards tonight. Want to come help? Pizza and beer. 7 p.m.? I stared at the message. He didn't know. Didn't know his mother had been there. Didn't know what she'd taken. I texted back. I'll be there. Then I called Rich. Set up the confrontation. Tomorrow, I want this handled before Derek gets back from his honeymoon. I'll arrange it. My office, 2 p.m. I'll have my paralegal serve her with a summons this afternoon. She'll show up. If she doesn't, we file criminal charges immediately. She'll show up. I hung up. Sat in my office. The wedding photos still on my computer screen. Vanessa's face circled in red in image after image. Tomorrow, I'd face her. Tomorrow, I'd make her answer for what she'd done. But tonight, I'd have pizza with my son and his new wife. I'd smile. I'd celebrate. I'd pretend everything was fine. Because Derek deserved that much. After everything, he deserved one more night of peace before the truth came out. The next day, I arrived at Rich's office at 1:45, early. Needed time to prepare myself mentally. Rich met me in the conference room. Large table, leather chairs, recording equipment, set up discreetly in the corner. "Everything's ready," he said. "She confirmed she's coming. Should be here any minute." "What did you tell her?" "That we needed to discuss a legal matter involving Derek's wedding. That her attendance was mandatory." She sounded nervous on the phone. "Good." At exactly 2 p.m., the receptionist buzzed. "Mr. Stern, your 2 o'clock is here. Send her in." The door opened, and there she was, Vanessa Pierce, 55 years old, still attractive in that hard-living way. Auburn hair touched up recently. Too much makeup. Nervous energy radiating off her like heat. She saw me, froze. "Jackson." I didn't respond. Just gestured to the chair across from me. She sat slowly, hands clasped on the table, eyes darting between me and Rich. "What is this about?" Rich opened his folder, pulled out printed photos, slid them across the table. "Miss Pierce, do you recognize these images?" She looked down. Her face went pale. Photos from the wedding. Her face circled in each one. Timestamps visible. Location data printed at the bottom. I don't understand." "Let me clarify," Rich said calmly. "On September 23rd, you attended a private wedding ceremony and reception at the Duke Mansion. You were not invited. You were not on the guest list. You entered through a service entrance to avoid security checkpoints. You remained at the venue for approximately 5.5 hours, and during that time, a substantial cash gift went missing from the gift table." Vanessa's hands started shaking. "I didn't steal anything. We have 37 photographs placing you at the venue," Rich continued. "We have security footage showing your unauthorized entry. We have witness statements from venue staff. And we have this." He pulled out another document, her Facebook post, printed in color. "Some moments you watch from afar. You documented your attendance publicly. You admitted being there." She looked at me, eyes welling up. "Our son?" My voice was ice. "You lost the right to call him our son 12 years ago when you chose blackjack tables over his college graduation. I've changed. You haven't changed." I leaned forward. "You crashed his wedding. You hid in the shadows like a criminal. And you stole $5,000 from my brother's gift." "I didn't steal anything." Her voice rose. "I swear to God, Jackson, I didn't touch those envelopes." "Then why did you leave before the reception ended?" Rich asked. "Why leave right around the time the gift went missing?" She opened her mouth, closed it. No answer. The silence stretched. Finally, she broke. "I left because I couldn't handle it anymore. Seeing him so happy. Seeing what I'd missed. Seeing the life I wasn't part of." "That's not an answer," I said. She wiped her eyes, mascara smearing. "I didn't take any money. I swear. Maybe someone else. Someone else entered through a service entrance without an invitation?" She had no response to that. Rich pulled out another document. "Miss Pierce, here are your options. Option 1. You return the $5,000 within 48 hours. You sign a legally binding agreement never to contact Jackson, Derek, or any member of their family again. You accept a permanent restraining order. If you comply, we don't file criminal charges. I don't have $5,000. Then, option 2. We file charges for criminal trespass and theft. The evidence is overwhelming. You'll face arrest, prosecution, and likely jail time given your prior financial crimes during the divorce." She turned to me, desperate. "Jackson, please. I made mistakes. I know that. But I'm his mother. You can't keep me from my own son." "I'm not keeping you from anything," I said quietly. "You kept yourself from him 12 years ago. And last Saturday, you violated his wedding. Violated his trust. Violated everything. I just wanted to see him happy. Then you should have stayed away." The words hit her like a slap. She recoiled. "You have 48 hours, Rich said. Return the money, sign the agreement, or face criminal prosecution. Your choice." She stood abruptly, chair scraping. "This is insane. I'm his mother. I have rights." "You have no rights." I stood too. You gave them up when you abandoned him. When you stole from our family. When you chose gambling over everything else. I've been sober from gambling for 6 months. Congratulations. That doesn't change what you did Saturday. She looked between us, trapped, cornered. Then her expression changed, hardened. Fine. You want to play it this way? Fine. But Derek will hear my side. I'll tell him you're doing this out of spite. That you've always tried to turn him against me. Derek hasn't spoken to you in 12 years, I said. Not because of me. Because of you. He'll forgive me. He's my son. He was your son. Now he's just a man whose mother crashed his wedding and stole from him. She grabbed her purse, headed for the door, turned back. You'll regret this, Jackson. Keeping a mother from her child. You'll regret it. The only thing I regret, I said, is that I didn't protect him from you sooner. She left. The door slammed. Rich and I stood in silence for a moment. That went well, he said dryly. Will she pay? No. She doesn't have the money. Never did. She'll force our hand. Then we file charges. Jackson, are you sure? Derek will have to know. This will become public. Derek deserves the truth, and Vanessa deserves consequences. Rich nodded. I'll prepare the paperwork. Quick pause. If you're wondering what happens next with Derek, make sure you're subscribed. Just a heads up. Okay. That evening, I drove to Derek and Rachel's apartment. My hands were steady on the wheel, but my mind was chaos. How do you tell your son his mother crashed his wedding? How do you explain that the woman who abandoned him 12 years ago was there, watching from the shadows, stealing from him? I parked outside their building, sat in the truck for 5 minutes, rehearsing what I'd say. Finally, I went up. Derek answered the door, smile on his face. Dad, perfect timing. We just finished packing for Fiji. Come see. Rachel waved from the bedroom, suitcases open on the bed. Resort wear folded neatly. Beer? Derek offered. Actually, son, I need to talk to you about something. Both of you. The tone of my voice changed the room. Derek's smile faded. Rachel came out of the bedroom. What's wrong? I set my phone on their coffee table, pulled up the wedding photos. The ones Marcus had sent me. Derek, I need you to look at these carefully. He sat, studied the screen, swiped through images. These are beautiful, Dad. What am I looking for? I zoomed in on the first photo, circled the face in the background. 5th row, right side. Do you recognize her? Derek squinted, leaned closer. Then his whole body went rigid. No, that's not. It is. That's impossible. We didn't invite her. She wasn't on the list. Security had her name flagged. She came anyway. Service entrance. Avoided checkpoints. Rachel moved closer. Who is that? Derek couldn't speak, just stared at the phone. I answered for him. That's Vanessa. Derek's mother. My ex-wife. Rachel's hand went to her mouth. I swiped through more photos. Showed them the timeline. The locations. The 37 images. She was there for 5.5 hours. Ceremony. Cocktails. Reception. She left before cake cutting. Derek stood abruptly, walked to the window, hands in his hair. Why? Why would she do that? I don't know, but there's more. I told them about the missing envelope, Tom's $5,000 gift, the cream-colored envelope that disappeared right around the time Vanessa left. Derek turned around slowly, face pale. She stole from us? We can't prove it definitively. But the timing, the evidence, her history, she stole from Uncle Tom's gift? His voice cracked. On my wedding day? Rachel went to him, put her hand on his arm. He pulled away gently. I need a minute. He walked into the bedroom, closed the door. Rachel looked at me, tears in her eyes. Mr. Moore? It's not your fault. None of this is your fault. Does Derek know you're handling this? I met with my lawyer yesterday. We confronted her today. She denied taking the money, claimed she just wanted to see Derek get married. What happens now? That's up to Derek. But legally, we have options. Criminal charges, restraining order, Civil suit to recover the money. The bedroom door opened. Derek came out. Eyes red. Jaw set. File charges. Son, are you sure? This will be public. It'll be messy. She crashed my wedding. She stole from us. From Uncle Tom. From you. His voice was steady now, cold. She made her choice 12 years ago. Now she has to face the consequences. Rachel touched his hand. Honey, maybe we should think about this. There's nothing to think about. He looked at me. Dad, file the charges. Do whatever you need to do. I'm done protecting her from herself. I nodded slowly. Okay, I'll call Rich in the morning. No, Derek pulled out his phone. Call him now. I want this handled before we leave for Fiji. I want to know she's being held accountable before I get on that plane. I called Rich. Put it on speaker. Explained Derek's decision. Understood, Rich said. I'll file first thing in the morning. Criminal trespass. Grand larceny. The DA will review. But with the evidence we have, charges should stick. How long until she's arrested? Derek asked. 48 to 72 hours. They'll issue a warrant. Bring her in for booking. Good. Derek's voice was flat. Empty. Thank you, Mr. Stern. After I hung up, we sat in silence. I'm sorry, son, I said finally. I'm sorry she did this to you. Don't apologize for her. He looked at me. You've been cleaning up her messes for 12 years. I'm just sorry it took me this long to realize she'd never change. Rachel made tea. Around 10, I stood to leave. Derek walked me to the door. Hugged me. Tight. Thanks, Dad. For handling this. For protecting me. Again. That's what fathers do. Yeah, well, you've been doing it alone for a long time. I drove home through empty streets. Replayed the conversation. Derek's face when he saw the photos. The way his voice broke. The way he hardened into resolve. Vanessa had stolen more than $5,000. She'd stolen Derek's last hope that maybe, someday, she might come back. Might be different. Might be his mother again. Now that hope was gone. And Derek was free. Thursday morning, Rich called me at 8:15. Warrant's been issued. They're picking her up within the hour. Does she know? Not yet. They'll show up at her apartment. Standard procedure. Keep me updated. At 9:40, my phone rang again. She's in custody. Booked on criminal trespass and grand larceny. Bail hearing this afternoon. What's bail likely to be? Given her history? Flight risk assessment? Probably 25 to 50,000. She won't make it. So she stays in jail? Until trial. Or until she finds a bail bondsman willing to take the risk. Given her financial situation, that's unlikely. I sat with that. Vanessa in a holding cell. Facing real consequences for the first time in years. Part of me felt satisfaction. Justice. Protection for Derek. Part of me felt nothing at all. Jackson? Rich's voice pulled me back. You there? Yeah, I'm here. Derek and Rachel's flight leaves tomorrow morning, right? 6 a.m. Good. They'll be out of the country before this hits local news. By the time they're back, it'll be old news. That was the plan. It's the right call. Let them have their honeymoon. Deal with this when they get back. After I hung up, I texted Derek. She's been arrested. Bail hearing this afternoon. You and Rachel should enjoy Fiji. Don't worry about any of this. His reply came 5 minutes later. Thanks, Dad. Feel like I can breathe for the first time in days. See you in 2 weeks. I set my phone down. Looked out the window at my backyard. The pool sparkling in morning light. The guest house empty and quiet. Vanessa was in custody. Derek was free. Rachel was safe. The wedding had been violated, but the marriage would survive. And sometimes, that's the best you can hope for. Friday afternoon, while Derek and Rachel were somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, Vanessa stood before a judge. Rich called me with the update at 3 p.m. Bail set at $40,000. She can't make it. Public defender requested release on her own recognizance. Judge denied it. She stays in custody until trial. When's the trial? Preliminary hearing in 2 weeks. Full trial probably 6 to 8 weeks out. DA's confident. The evidence is overwhelming. What about the $5,000? Any chance of recovering it? If she took it, she's already spent it. Her bank accounts show less than $300. No assets. No property. Nothing to seize. I lean back in my chair. So, even if we win, we don't get the money back. Probably not. But that's not really the point, is it? No, I suppose it's not. Rich paused. Jackson, how are you doing? This can't be easy. I divorced her 12 years ago. Cut her out of my life. But somehow she's still causing damage. Not anymore. After this, she won't be able to get near you or Derek again. Restraining order is automatic with the conviction. And she will be convicted. Good. After we hung up, I sat in my office. Stared at the wedding photo on my desk. Derek and Rachel. First dance. Both of them laughing. Joy captured perfectly. Vanessa had been there. 20 feet away. Watching from the shadows. But she wasn't in this photo. Wasn't in the memories Derek and Rachel would keep. Wasn't part of their story. She was just a ghost who'd briefly haunted their wedding day. And now, she'd fade away completely. My phone buzzed. Text from Tom. Heard about the arrest. How you holding up, brother? I typed back. I'm fine. Derek's fine. Justice is being served. Good. That's good. She had it coming. Yeah. She did. I set the phone down. Felt something loosen in my chest. Relief, maybe? Or just exhaustion finally catching up. Derek and Rachel returned from Fiji tanned and relaxed. I picked them up from the airport. How was it? I asked as they loaded luggage into my truck. Perfect, Rachel said. We didn't think about anything but beach and cocktails for 2 weeks. Derek climbed into the passenger seat. Did I miss anything? I pulled out of the airport. Vanessa's preliminary hearing was Wednesday. She's being held without bail. Trial date is set for November 15th. Derek nodded, stared out the window. Good. You okay, son? Yeah, actually, I am. Being away, having distance from all of it. I realized something. What's that? She doesn't get to take anything more from me. Not my wedding. Not my memories. Not my happiness. She showed up uninvited. But she wasn't really there. Not in any way that mattered. Rachel reached forward from the back seat, squeezed his shoulder. That's a healthy perspective, I said. I learned it from you. He looked at me. You could have let her destroy you 12 years ago. Instead, you built a good life. Raised me right. Made sure I didn't carry her damage. I'm just following your example. My throat tightened. You turned out better than I ever hoped, Derek. That's because I had you. We drove in comfortable silence for a while. Then Derek spoke again. Uncle Tom called me yesterday. Said he doesn't want the $5,000 back. Called it a wedding gift that served its purpose, whether we got to keep it or not. That's generous of him. He also said something else. Said maybe Vanessa showing up was a blessing in disguise. I glanced at him. How so? Because now there's no doubt. No wondering if maybe she'd changed. No guilt about cutting her off. She made it clear who she is, and that clarity is worth more than $5,000. Rachel leaned forward again. Your uncle is wise. More men usually are, Derek said with a slight smile. I dropped them at their apartment, helped carry luggage upstairs. Rachel hugged me goodbye. Thank you for everything, Dad. For the wedding. For handling all of this. For being exactly what Derek needed. That's what family does. After I left, I drove home slowly. Took the long route through Myers Park. Past the houses I'd built early in my career. Past the neighborhoods where I'd raised Derek. Tom was right. Vanessa's appearance had been a blessing in disguise. It had forced a final reckoning. Closed a door that had been left slightly ajar for 12 years. Now it was sealed shut. And Derek was free. We're almost at the end. But thousands of you are still watching without subscribing. Why? You've invested 30 minutes in this story. You clearly care. So why won't you support the channel? Subscribe now or tell me in the comments what's stopping you. Last chance. Here's how it ends. November 15th arrived cold and gray. I sat in the courtroom with Derek. Rachel had to work, but she'd sent her support. Vanessa was brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit. She looked smaller than I remembered. Harder. Her public defender, a young woman who looked overworked and underpaid, sat beside her. The prosecution presented their case systematically. The photographs, the timeline, the security footage, the witness statements, from venue staff, the Facebook post admitting attendance. Vanessa's lawyer tried to argue that attending a wedding wasn't a crime, that there was no direct evidence of theft, that the missing envelope could have been taken by anyone. The prosecutor pulled up the timeline. Miss Pierce entered through an unauthorized entrance at 2:20 p.m. She remained at the venue for 5.5 hours, specifically avoiding areas where she might be recognized or questioned. At 7:40 p.m., the gift table attendant documented all gifts present. At 8:15 p.m., a cream-colored envelope containing $5,000 in cash was discovered missing. Miss Pierce left the venue at approximately 8 p.m. The timeline speaks for itself. The judge, a woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and no patience for nonsense, listened carefully. Miss Pierce, do you have anything to say in your own defense? Vanessa stood. Her voice trembled. Your Honor, I just wanted to see my son get married. I made mistakes in the past, terrible mistakes. But I've changed. I've been sober from gambling for 8 months. I just wanted one moment to see him happy. And the missing envelope? The judge asked. I didn't take it, I swear. I would never steal from my son. The judge looked at the evidence spread before her, then at Vanessa, then at Derek, sitting in the gallery. Miss Pierce, whether you took that specific envelope or not, you trespassed on private property. You violated event security. You caused emotional distress to a family that had explicitly excluded you from their lives. The evidence of your presence at the venue is irrefutable. The timing of the theft is highly suspicious, and your history of financial crimes during your divorce supports the prosecution's theory. She paused. Let that sink in. I find you guilty of criminal trespass. On the charge of grand larceny, while I have concerns about the circumstantial nature of the evidence, the preponderance suggests your involvement. I find you guilty on that charge as well. Vanessa's legs buckled. Her lawyer caught her. Sentencing will be held in 2 weeks. Until then, you will remain in custody. This court is adjourned. The gavel struck. Derek exhaled beside me, long and slow. It's over, he said quietly. Almost. Sentencing in 2 weeks. Then, it's truly over. We stood. Vanessa was led away. She looked back once, tried to catch Derek's eye. He didn't look at her, just took my arm and walked out of the courtroom. 2 weeks later, we were back. The judge sentenced Vanessa to 18 months in prison for criminal trespass and grand larceny. With good behavior, she'd serve 12 months. After release, a permanent restraining order would prevent her from contacting Derek, Rachel, or me, ever. Miss Pierce, the judge said, you had opportunities to make different choices, to respect boundaries, to acknowledge the damage you've caused. Instead, you violated a sacred family event and stole from people who once loved you. I hope you use your time in prison to genuinely reflect on your actions and make real changes. But those changes cannot involve this family. They've moved on. You need to do the same, Vanessa cried. Her lawyer asked for leniency. The judge denied it. 18 months. To be served at the North Carolina Correctional Institution for Women. Permanent restraining order to take effect upon release. This court is adjourned. Derek and I walked out of the courthouse into December sunshine. How do you feel? I asked. He thought about it. Free. Finally, completely free. Good, that's good. Rachel and I have been talking about starting a family, maybe trying next year. I stopped walking, looked at him. Really? Yeah. And Dad, if we have kids, I want them to know their grandfather. The man who showed up, who protected his family, who did the hard things when they needed doing. My eyes stung. I'd like that, son. No contact with Vanessa. Ever. Our kids won't even know she exists. I understand. You broke the cycle, Dad. The dysfunction, the addiction, the damage. You made sure it stopped with her. Now, Rachel and I get to build something healthy. Something good. That's all I ever wanted for you. We got in the truck. Drove to a restaurant downtown. Had lunch. Talked about the future. About Rachel's students. About Derek's promotion at work. About baby names they were considering. Normal things, healthy things, future things. Vanessa was in the past. Where she belonged, March brought warm weather and new beginnings. I stood on my back patio, coffee in hand, watching the sun rise over Charlotte. The pool was being cleaned. The guest house sat empty, waiting for the grandchildren Derek and Rachel were planning. My phone rang. Marcus Webb, the photographer. Mr. Moore, I wanted to follow up. I heard about the trial, the conviction. Yes, justice was served. I'm glad. I've been thinking about that day. About making that phone call to you. I almost didn't. Almost just deleted those photos and pretended I hadn't seen her. Why didn't you? Because it was the right thing to do. Even when it's hard. Even when it causes pain. Truth matters. It does. And Marcus, I never properly thanked you. You gave us the evidence we needed. You helped protect my son. I'm just glad it worked out. After we hung up, I sat with that. Truth matters. Even when it hurts. Even when it destroys comfortable lies. Derek had his truth now. His mother had crashed his wedding, stolen from him, and shown her true character one final time. But he also had clarity. Freedom. Peace. Rachel called me that afternoon. I drove to their apartment at 6. Derek opened the door grinning. We're pregnant, Rachel said before I even sat down. 8 weeks. Due in October. I hugged them both. Felt joy flood through me. Pure and uncomplicated. A grandfather, I said. I'm going to be a grandfather. And this baby will have one grandfather, Derek said firmly. One grandparent who shows up, who protects, who loves without conditions. That's you, Dad. Rachel showed me ultrasound pictures, talked about nursery plans, asked if I'd help build a crib. Of course, I said. Anything you need. That night, driving home, I thought about the journey. From that phone call, 3 days after the wedding, to this moment. 6 months of pain, confrontation, legal battles, and truth. But also 6 months of Derek growing stronger, of boundaries being enforced, of consequences being delivered, of family being redefined not by blood, but by choice and love and showing up. Vanessa was in prison. She'd be there for 9 more months. Then she'd be released into a life where she couldn't contact us, couldn't hurt us, couldn't steal from us. She'd made her choices. Now she lived with them. We'd made ours, and we were free. A year after the wedding, I sat in Derek and Rachel's living room. Baby Emma slept in my arms. 2 months old. Perfect. She has your eyes, Derek, I said softly. And Mom's stubbornness, Rachel added with a smile. Derek looked at his daughter, then at me. Dad, I never asked. Do you have any regrets? About how we handled everything with Vanessa? I thought about it. Really thought. No. We protected you. We protected Rachel. We protected Emma before she was even born. We set boundaries that should have been set years ago. And we taught Vanessa that actions have consequences. She writes to me, Derek said quietly. From prison. Letters I don't open. Just return to sender. That's your choice. It's the right choice. She had chances. Decades of chances. She chose gambling over family every time. Now she gets to live with that. Emma stirred in my arms, opened her eyes, looked up at me with that unfocused baby gaze. This is what matters, I said. This right here. Building something healthy for the next generation. Making sure Emma grows up in a home full of love and truth and people who show up. Rachel touched my hand. She's lucky to have you, Dad. I'm lucky to have all of you. Derek raised his beer. To family. Real family. The ones who show up. I shifted Emma carefully. Raised my own beer with my free hand. To family. We drank. Emma dozed. Outside, the sun set over Charlotte. Vanessa had crashed the wedding, but she hadn't won. She'd stolen $5,000, but lost everything that mattered. Derek had his wife, his daughter, his future, his peace. And I had my son, my daughter-in-law, and my granddaughter. 3 generations of more family who showed up, told the truth, and protected each other. That was worth more than any wedding gift. More than any stolen envelope. That was worth everything. If you made it this far, you felt this story. You lived it with us. So do one simple thing: subscribe. Hit that bell, comment below, and tell me what you thought. Support costs you nothing but means everything. And if thousands of you finally subscribe right now, you'll prove that loyalty and support still matter in this world. Thank you for watching. Click the video on your screen for the next story. This is your reminder that truth always wins, boundaries matter, and real family shows up. See you in the next one.